What's going on, everyone? Starting the stream a little early here. It's going to be me and Andrew commentating here today. OP10 pre-release today.
Yep.
Um, won't really start much of the commentary. The players are in their
Deck building
ripping
stage.
and deck building. So you do see Sully on the right, and we have Mubaris on the left right now. So we are just going to leave you guys here with the players until the match actually begins. So you get to see some of their pulls. Maybe they pull something great.
Yeah, hopefully they do. Except for
But
Sully.
yeah, except for Sully. But without further ado, we'll leave you guys with the rips, and we will be right back after deck building is done, completed. All right, and we are back. They finally finished building their decks.
Yeah.
So they're pushed round one pairings, and looks like we are going to be having Benjamin and Snaps up to table one. So what in pre-releases do you usually look for when you're building a deck?
Well, obviously, every 2K you can grab, every blocker you can grab. You definitely want to fill out with some basic vanillas, just to get like 5 cost 7Ks, 4 cost 6Ks, stuff to place down early, because if you're not placing down bodies, you're kind of in a bad spot. Um, in this set in particular, there's a lot of good events, whether it be counter events, the removal events. I could see definitely being used. Other than that, I mean,
Make sure you guys play some audio for like when you guys go to break or something.
Yeah, I'm all over that.
yeah.
Do you play audio?
Yes,
Oh,
I'm the one that figured it out.
sounds good.
Yeah, in this format, you want to look for all the 2Ks. You want to look
Yep.
for all your blockers. Essentially, those are all the ones you want to throw in there.
Yeah.
If you're lucky enough and find some of the super rares, in this set for super rares, I think the best ones is one Rosinante,
Yeah, Rosinante is good.
discarding one card on play to draw two, and it has to be an event, so it's specific to an event. But after that, once you're at 7 Dawn, you get to restand 2 at the end of your turn, which you essentially set up a lot of your counter events.
Yeah.
So it won me my pre-release yesterday, believe it or not.
Yeah, which again, there's a lot of really great events, counter events and removal events. So if you pull that, that's just a great pool. Your 8-drop kit is good, just the trash.
Very good.
You're cycling every turn. It's a 9K body. 5 cost smoker is great with banish, and then also restanding that one dawn. Basil Hawkins, just it's a rare out of this set, so it's not hard to get.
And I think
4
it's
cost
on
5K.
KO, trash a card, right, from your opponent's life?
Yeah, so they have to think, is it worth it to just trash the life or keep countering out of every swing, every turn
Yeah.
for it?
So we will be going over to our players, which we have Benjamin on the left, who is one of the seasoned players here at the Abode,
Yep.
and Snaps on the right, which I believe this might be one of his first events.
I think so. It sounded like it. I don't recognize him, but Again, this is a great. I think pre-release is a great time for somebody that wants to get into the game to be able to have the excitement of opening the packs, kind of reading through the cards, kind of gives like a standard guideline of deck building, and then everyone is basically on the same playing ground, you know?
Hmm. And especially here, we are going to be using the rainbow Luffys for every single one of the players here
Yep.
today to make it more fair and balanced across the field. No one's going to be, bringing their own leader, which
Yep.
we have seen an increase of Sanji giving everything a rush.
Yeah, because there's clear leaders. Maybe someone doesn't have their red Sanji because it was just in PRB.
Hmm.
Even though it's not like an expensive just base leader to get, someone's not going to buy one just for pre-release. And then yeah, it just makes it fair all around. And then plus two because it Rainbow Luffy, takes on all crew types, all colors, everything. You get to experience the new cards in an actual fun way.
Oh, yeah. And the fun thing is this Luffy is everything. So it activates
Yes.
every single ability, so we get to at least be able to see what the cards can do.
Yeah, because I remember like when Green Yellow Yamato and whatnot came out for pre-release, and some of these leaders, it just became a leader battle and less like battling with a new set of cards.
Yeah, it was Kid.
Yeah,
Kid every format.
yeah. Kid Yamato. I know Bonnie was actually ended up being pretty decent.
Hmm. And we do see Ben swinging 5 right here at Snaps. Snaps deciding to take the first life. Oh, well, it looks like he's thinking about it. I personally would take the first life. I think it's worth taking it. Give yourself a little bit more options early on. And looks like he's establishing Bluegill, which is just a 3/5 vanilla in this format.
Yeah, in sealed, you want to be playing a card down every turn, or a meaningful body. Maybe the late turns a little different. And then yeah, taking that first life, you really shouldn't because your card advantage will diminish very quickly in sealed environment.
And I can't see what card that is, but looks like Snaps is responding with the 6K swing back to his leader. That might be the Marco blocker.
I think that is the Marco blocker. That's a 3/5 no counter on KO. You can bounce one of their 4 cost or less characters. Yeah.
Which is good in this format because you are able to bounce a lot of the blockers they establish, or like this Blue Gilly on Ben's Jammin's field right here. So it looks like he swung 5. Snaps decides to counter out of that first 1K. Looks like they're declaring Rainbow Luffy as to be a 5 life leader. Some people might have put down 4 life. And looks like Benjamin is looking to go wide here. Looks like establishing a Germa clone soldier. Replicate
So,
soldier. It's a 2-cost blocker.
yeah, 2 cost blocker, and then I can't tell what the other.
A Bellamy.
Oh, that's a Bellamy on board.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so 3/4 block. So 2 blockers. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but the Bellamy will also allow Ben to ramp if he leaves Tudon active, however. But still, having that ramp capability in the deck could be very useful in this format. And Snaps establishing this Frankie, which is, I believe, a 6.
I believe it's 6/8.
8?
Yeah, 6/8 vanilla.
And this is what this format really revolves around, is establishing a lot of these big bodies and not swinging right away, because the moment you turn the card sideways, your opponent will pressure the card. So you kind of got to be a little weary with the swings here. And looks like Ben decides to swing 6. Snaps takes it, and then he establishes his own Cavendish, which is another 6/8 body.
Yeah, so you want to just keep scaling higher and higher if you can with your body sizes. Also, did Snaps attack last turn with his leader?
Yeah. Mm, yeah, I think Ben took it.
Also, in this situation, that Marco is going to be a nice blocker, just because he can bounce one of them back to hand.
Oh, yeah. Especially with how wide Ben's going. But at best, you can at least bounce the blue gilly or at least one of the blockers off Ben's field.
Yep.
So here, it looks like Ben's got the advantage here going wide. Snaps has one blocker and one big body, but not much else going on here. He really needs to see some of these removal events that this deck
Yeah, and
or
that's
this pre-release can
the
have.
Momonosuke.
Okay, so he chooses to use the ability of resting his leader because, again, this Rainbow Luffy looks and sees itself as any card. So
It should be counting as Dressrosa.
Momonosuke's ability will only activate as long as you have a Dressrosa leader or stage. And we'll give something -2.
So he was planning on returning something.
So he chose the Blue Gilly and then plays the Bartolomeo, which will bottom deck a 1 cost. So he establishes another blocker, which is very good because Snaps could potentially, or Ben could potentially just start swinging, maybe even at this Momonosuke to not give him the reduction. And it looks like Ben's actually at 2 life as well.
Yeah, and with the Marco, usually I wouldn't be opposed to just swinging with it, because again, the on KO. But with his Frankie turn sideways, and now Ben, he wants to keep that Frankie on board, because once he starts losing like the high number battle, it gets really rough.
Yeah. And then, yeah, blocking with his Marco, he will be able to bounce one of these blockers back to Ben's hand, preferably the Bellamy.
Yep.
So it looks like Ben's considering on what to do here. It's kind of in a little tough situation here. So it looks like Snaps is debating on whether to take the 5K swing from the leader swing here.
Yeah, because he will still have another AK coming.
He is a little low on hand size, though, and decides to counter out with a 1K. Oh, he ends up taking this swing, however. Looks like that was a Shiryu, which I believe is an on-play KO with base cost of 3.
Sure. Oh, it's the 4/5 on opponent's turn. It's a 2K, and yeah, since we're using Rainbow Luffy, it will KO an original cost of 3.
And it will be able to KO one of these blockers. And then looks like Ben decided to go wide there, establishing.
I think it's a Nami and Cavendish. I could be wrong about the Nami.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but Cavendish is also a great card for this pre-release event because you're cycling through and also going +1.
Yeah, which in this format you do need as much card draw as you can get. But yeah, that Nami is another 5/7 body, so it will be able to put a lot of pressure on Snaps here.
Let's see, that's a
Sengoku, which is another 5/7 in this format. So you're going to be seeing a lot of vanillas here, and it all comes down to who decides to swing first and then put more pressure on. And you do see he decides to swing. I believe it looks like that was 9 at the Cavendish.
Yeah, it was 9 at the Cavendish. I don't know how many cards Ben has in hand, but...
But it might not be a lot if he's already giving up a blocker.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's down to 2 cards in hand. And Snaps is down to 2 life.
Yep, because he took the 5.
Yep, so that leaves Ben with 1 life here, so maybe he looks like he has a decent hand size there.
No, you might have said it already, too. That Bardo, is that a blocker?
Yep, Bardo is a block. It's a 5/6 blocker.
So we got 2 blockers, and that Marco can bounce the 2 cost blocker back to hand, which doesn't hurt Ben too much. You could always play right back down.
And looks like he's looking to read here, because if he decides to swing out here, Bellamy might be the first thing you want to swing with. Or that Marco bounces a 4, right?
Marco bounces Oh, it is a 4. Yes, so
So
he
then,
can
yeah, that
bounce.
Cavendish is going to be what you want to swing with first.
Yeah. So you would want to decide, do you want to bounce that Cavendish back just so there's other attacker off the field, or are you going to bounce the blocker? Probably the Cavendish, because the blocker can just come right back on the field easy.
Yeah, but he is opting to do the blocker. Oh no,
Okay.
does do
Yep.
the Cavendish, which is the better option. Especially if Snaps can draw any type of removal, which there are a lot in this format.
Yep.
You have, I think it was like Punk,
I think
um,
every color has a form of removal for events.
Damned Punk.
Yeah, Damn Punk is a 5 or less. I think the same with it's a purple one that I believe is also a 5 cost or
No, that one is the
less.
green event card.
Oh, that's the green event.
It's a radio knife. There was also Liberation. There's a chance that one of them drew that.
Yes.
So you do see he's swinging 7 with the Nami. Snaps is deciding whether or not to take it here. He already used his Bartolomeo blocker, as well as his Marco. Looks like he's possibly opting to counter out. Yep, if he counters out of that, if he would have took the life, however, he would have been able to activate. Looks like it is room. I'm not sure what the yellow event is in his hand.
Yeah, I haven't been able to see it. I think it might be room.
Um, let's see.
Oh, no, I think it's Let's Meet in the New World.
But that's still 4K counter.
Yeah, 4K counter and another draw, but that's if you're at 0.
Yeah, but Benz ends up swinging over the Barto, clearing it, which is what you want to do in this format. Although you are able to pressure your opponent's life, you want to be able to clear their board just as fast. And looks like he establishes the Cavendish and the Rosinante, which at the end of your turn, you will be able to restand 2 down. So now if Ben has any type of counter events, he will be able to use them.
Yeah, that was a great card to put down right then, because you're still establishing your blocker, establishing another attacker, and yeah, being very defensive counter-wise.
And honestly, that was the MVP for my pre-release yesterday. Ditching 1, drawing 2. And you do see Snaps establishing a 2-cost blocker. Oh, and Ben has a big hand size.
Yep.
I was going to say maybe pressuring life is going to have to be what Snaps has to do this turn. But he is sitting at 2 life as well, so potentially could
Sitting at 2
hold off.
life, but Ben has a blocker, unless he has a very cheap way to remove something. Yeah, getting through an 8K and a 7K with all the counter that Ben potentially has, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. But yeah, not sure what else Snaps has. Maybe just going for life is the better option here, to be honest.
Okay, I don't know what he would
And
attack
decides to
with.
counter out, but yeah,
Assume
it
leader,
looks like
yeah.
leader.
Still leaving tons of Dawn up.
Maybe he's gonna swing with the Momonosuke.
I mean, he could.
It's not out of the question. He could go 5 with the Momo, but ideally, swinging big with the Frankie Sengoku and his leader was the better option.
Yeah, because you're going to have to force a block on one of them. Going to force some event counter out.
And he ends up swinging big at the Cavendish, and he's going to use this red event, which 2 cost. It's going to give his character +3 or a leader, and then give -2 to anything else on your opponent's side of the board.
Yep, and in this situation, that's probably one of the best counter events you could have.
Especially in this format. 10-layer
Yeah.
Igloo is the name of it. Especially with the Rosinante. So the Rosinante did give him the 2 down to be able to activate this card. And you do see now he's going to opt to swing big with the Frankie here. However, again, Benjamin does have the blocker. So even if he decides to go for board clear, Ben could just save it. Oh, but he also had to attach more Don than he would like to even swing with that Frankie because of that 10-layer igloo.
Yep. Yeah, Ben's in a very solid position right now. Um, Still has a good hand, and then again with this Cavendish swinging, he's just going to cycle more and then +1 off of it.
Hmm. And you do see another 10-layer igloo, so it looks like Ben actually drew very well in this sealed release. And it looks like he's going 7 to the Sengoku. Gonna force cards out of Snap's hand. If not, get rid of the entire board here. So he ends up countering out, and he's gonna pressure again. And looks like he's gonna opt to protect the board again with that event card. Will give something plus 4,000, but with doing that, also you dwindle your entire hand size now.
Yep, so now he's free to swing however he wants.
Mm-hmm. Could potentially even go lethal here. But he's
Well,
gonna opt to continue to clear board, which is the correct thing to do here.
yeah, without a hand, you might as well play it safe. I'm not sure if there's any like crazy triggers in this set. Well, yeah, with no hand, just get rid of the board.
Oh, I think that's liberation.
Is that liberate?
Oh
No,
no, no,
no.
that's divine departure.
Yeah,
One
so
Don
it's
taps 5.
yeah, KO and 8K or less.
Mm-hmm. So able to clear the Frankie, and then now he's just swinging out at life here.
Yep.
Looks like he decides to block and get rid of his last blocker.
Yep, and then he unrests 2 more. And with only a Momonosuke on board, there's not really anything you can do about this.
Mm-hmm. No, he's sitting in a really bad spot here.
Yeah.
Although that divine departure is something that Shanks did need, to be honest, for removal.
Yeah, because it fits in as a counter event, because not all the time do you necessarily need 4K counter. Um, and just being able to have options with it, it's a great card.
Yep. And you do see Snaps using Liberation to KO the Cavendish and can KO one other card, which could be the Cavendish would be the better option here because
Yeah, you would have to go Cavendish, stop him from drawing and take off aggression.
yeah, and it's Cavendish is a 6K swing, which that card was completely needed in Blackbeard for the Dofi matchup. However, he's still not sitting in a really good spot here. 4 Don left. At best, he could potentially just try to swing over the Rosinante here.
Well, he still has a blocker.
Yeah, but I'm saying that would be his best target.
Yeah, that's all you could do.
Frankie's still, or that Nami is a 7K, Rosinante is a 6. Better chance of doing that. But yeah, it would be essentially clearing the Bellamy. But we also don't know what Ben has in his hand, or at least how much. We do know he has another 10-layer igloo. So he could protect whatever he wants here.
So that was not, no, it's 8.
Oh, and he ends up giving that 4K event and past his turn. This might be where game is for Ben's. Ends up swinging 5 with the leader. I believe Snaps could at least counter out of this swing here. Oh,
No,
never
Snaps
mind.
has no Dawn open and 1 card in the end.
I thought he was only swinging 5, and that is game. Ben's going to end it
Yep.
with the Nami here. And Ben's is the winner of the first round.
Man, yeah, that kind of goes to show what we were saying in the beginning with events in this set are so good for the sealed format.
Oh, yeah, especially with comboing with that Rosinante, it can do so much more. Snaps did play it as well as possible, but once those cards turned sideways and Ben was able to focus on the board,
Yep.
was able to clear it and just took them out little by little.
Yeah. Snaps just didn't have much of a hand left. Caught up again. That Rosinante was disgusting.
Mhm.
The Cavendish, disgusting. Overall, I mean, Ben just saw what he needed to see.
Yeah, especially with that Cavendish being able to +1, how you were saying, and still put a lot of pressure
Yep.
on snaps there. But it's just disgusting.
Yeah,
This format could go so sideways.
yeah, liberation for snaps. So it would have been way better if he got it earlier, because I think it was around when he used the Momonosuke and then the bottom deck. If he had liberation, probably could have played it a little bit differently.
Oh yeah, could have gotten rid of, I believe, the Cavendish. Well, he would have been able to get rid of Cavendish regardless, but
He could have got rid of both
Bellamy.
Cavendishes.
Yeah, yeah, he could have. Well, regardless, you still could.
Yeah,
Instead of you lose a, I think the Momonosuke is a 2K counter, so he
yeah,
does lose a 2K counter using it for the ability, but it is something that can be utilized to take pressure off with that Barto.
yep.
But just unfortunate there for snaps. But speaking of how we did talk, that Cavendish is going to be very essential in this Usopp with all these bans that just came out that was announced. Gecko Moria being banned, Ice Age being banned, Jinbei being banned. Maybe Usopp can finally see its reign at the top.
Yeah, I know, like, the build people were playing, it lost its best matchups, but Usopp, you can build a little bit differently. So I'm curious how it will actually compete in this meta. I'm not thinking it's going to be the greatest thing ever, but, you know, I think it's a contender as a blue deck.
Oh, yeah. And Blackbeard, all its worst matchups essentially. Not its worst matchups, but Gecko, Ice Age does not
Yep.
affect him at all. And then Jinbei being banned, you might not even need a pitch on your 2-Don turn going forward.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that too. Yeah, I don't think you'll need a pitch on your 2-Don turn. Also, too, Usopp, I think, I mean, maybe it was just me. It did okay into Blackbeard. It wasn't terrible. Just because your leader ability, you can keep drawing cards, just swarming the field with low bodies. Even though you're not getting your on play effects for like the Rebecca, it's still manageable. And then maybe Usopp will also be okay because since Jinbei is off the ban list, Zoro has a chance to like come into the meta more comfortably than it did. So I mean, it's not bad against Zoro either. It actually does well against Zoro.
Yeah, because there's such low-cost bodies coming onto the field from the Zoro.
Yeah, and you have so many blockers because Zoro wants to get you down as fast as possible, and then just try and get that one last swing in at the end.
Yeah, that is true. But we are going to be going on a short break. There's still about 12 minutes left into the round, and then we will be going on to the next top table of round 2. We are back with the start of round 2. We are going to have Jimmy J and Green and Retired up for the match here. Who do you think is going to take it?
Man, depends which decks they're playing. No,
For
I'm
real.
not sure. I think I recognize them a little bit, but I'm not familiar with the players. And again, this is sealed, so
That is true. I have seen both players around the locals. Not exactly sure where they play at, though. So we do got Jimmy J on the left and Green and Retired on the right. So very interested to see what they pulled. Of course, how we've been talking, obviously, they want to see super rares if they were lucky enough,
yep.
or a lot of these counter events as well.
Yeah, counter events. And again, there is also a few really good rares. Like we said, Cavendish, Basil Hawkins, and just getting out maybe a couple really good vanillas.
Yeah, and 2Ks. 2Ks and blockers.
Yep.
They just got to hope that they saw enough to be able to survive. It looks like they're here doing dice roll. Those dice are really small. I
Yep.
can't see it. And they are cutting the decks. Looks like he's admiring his sleeves there as well. I think he said first for Green and Retired.
Yeah, I think he might have.
I personally like going first in this format as well. Well, for this format at least, for this pre-release,
Yeah.
you're able to build a lot of you're able to pull a lot of 3-cost characters, so you can at least put pressure and swing 5. Establish a 3/5. If you pulled Punk Hazard's a cool stage to have, which allows you to attach a Arrest to Dawn.
Oh, to be honest, I didn't even know they had a stage.
Yeah, there's a stage. So it looks like Jimmy J is going first, which I think is the better curve, to be honest, at least in this format.
Yes.
Passes over to Green and Retired.
Seems like they both drew decent hands. Nothing too bad.
Yep. And you do see Jimmy swinging 5, and Green and Retired takes it. And then he establishes,
Th-
looks like the Zorro.
That's the Zorro. I believe it's if opponent has 2 life or less. No, if your life total is fewer than your opponent, it gains rush.
Still, 3/5. It's at this point a vanilla, which is what you want to at least establish. And Green and Retired establishing the Sanji. Super rare.
The Sanji is great because on attack you're at least swinging 6K.
Mm-hmm.
It replaces itself on the KO. Yeah, it turns itself into 3K on your turn, but at least it eats an attack and you're drawing.
Yeah. And it becomes a pseudo blocker because your opponent is going to want to get rid of it.
Yep.
And both have taken a life here. So let me update the life here. So it is 4 and 4. Green is deciding whether they want to counter out of it or not. And
Swing
decides to
6.
take it. Oh, looks like he's triggering out an event as well.
Yeah, I can't tell. Was that the blue removal event?
Looks like it is the blue removal event. Not exactly
Yeah.
sure what it does.
The trigger, it might be activate main. Yep. Was it that one? I thought it was the 5 cost.
Oh, yeah, it is the 5 cost.
Yep, it's activate main. Place up to one of your opponent's characters with 6,000 base power or 6,000 power or less at the bottom of the owner's deck.
Which is good because now the Zorro was unable to swing that turn.
It was also a great trigger because then you don't actually have to spend 5 Dawn and play it.
That as well. And you do see he is swinging with the Sanji here and ends up taking the life there. But now again, that Sanji's going to be a pseudo blocker, which will allow him to draw another card as well.
Yep.
And looks like he might be saving the 4 down to establish his own Ryuma, which is attach a Dawn, I think, and a double attack.
Yes, it's a 1 Dawn double attack. I think it's a 4/5.
Yeah, I think it is a 4/5.
Yeah. So he's going to establish his
It's a 4/6.
4/6.
Yeah, so it's going to swing 7 with double attack. because you need to attach one Don at least, at the minimum. So, yep, there it goes. Swinging at that
Yep.
Sanji. And green and retired did not draw a card.
Oh, yeah, I don't think he did.
Yeah, no, he missed the trigger, the KO trigger right there.
And then Ryuma, how much do you realistically want to put down? Maybe swinging for 9 wouldn't be bad because he doesn't have any Dawn up for counter. So would have to pitch a good amount of his hand if he wanted to counter out of that. Nope, just 7.
And he ends up countering out of the swing.
Can you put the headphones on?
Had to remind him to put the headphones on. Just realize it because potentially they were able to hear us talking over here. Oh, man. So he ends up countering out of the swing. Looks like he didn't want to take that double attack swing, which is the right thing. You don't want to take that swing there.
Yeah, but he did just pitch 3 cards that counter out. So now on any clapback swings, he's not going to have as much counter.
True. And Jimmy ends up establishing a dragon, which is a blocker.
Yeah,
And
I believe it's a 2/2 blocker.
4/6, it looks like.
Yeah, that's the Buffalo.
Yep, the 4/6 vanilla. And again, this pre-release format is all about establishing as many bodies as possible and being able to keep them on the field. So Jimmy's already going a little bit wider than green and retired here. Because the moment he swings with this Ryuma, Jimmy on the clapback, what he needs to do is swing at this Ryuma as well.
Yep, and establishing that blocker is great for that Ryuma swing coming.
Mm-hmm.
Unless green and retired has something to get rid of it with.
Mm-hmm. So he's swinging 7 at the Ryuma, 4 cards in hand for Jimmy here. Is he going to dump the hand or give him the dragon? It looks like he might have a 2K. I know that's a 1K at the very top there.
He might not have a 2K because I feel like that'd be an easy counter out decision.
Yeah, he gave him two
Yup.
1Ks, which is sort of what you wanted to see there for green. Does have 6 Dawn left. Not sure what else he's going to play. Oh,
Yep, just
swings 9 at the Ryuma. Potentially just swinging 7 would have been a little better.
7, or he could have just done 8 because he already gave 2 1Ks out.
Mm-hmm.
So you could assume maybe at the most he has 2K counter total.
Could have bluffed an event as well.
True. Now here is the Marco blocker. So any swing that Jimmy wants to do, that Marco can bounce the Ryuma back. It can bounce the Buffalo back. Whatever is not rested.
True. Especially, I believe getting rid of the Ryuma is going to be the better option here because that one has no counter in hand
Yeah,
compared to the Buffalo.
I would definitely be trying to get rid of the Ryuma. So about life. Yep. Just trying to do some math, see what he wants to play.
And looks like green and retired is really thinking about what he wants to do here.
Just trying to get the guaranteed hit. Because if he swung 8 and he countered 2 and 1, that could be kind of a bad spot. But he puts out another 2-cost blocker, and green and retired's field is gone.
Really debating on what he wants to do here.
Yeah, I can't tell what's all in his hand. That might be Usopp, I believe, the forecast 5K. I think it's return 2 or 3 cards. Oh no, you rest a Dressrosa leader stage, which Luffy would count as, and you can KO a 2 or less, and then trash 2 from your deck. So that is a way to get rid of the blocker, but then you're just resting your leader.
Okay. My bad, I was fixing the Nightbot there for them. Nightbot goes on a rampage, starting to ban everyone with emotes. So here we go. Green and retired, swinging 7 at the Ryuma.
Yep.
Gets the block from Jimmy J there. Establishing the Barto, which again is a blocker. And the Sai does do an ability, which I believe is just an on play, resting a Dressrosa type, and I think bottom decking a 1 cost. Yep, so you may rest a Dressrosa type leader stage and bottom deck opponents 1 cost or less. So
Yep.
in this format, it's just a 3/5 vanilla. That's pretty much all it really is. But establishing these 2 bodies now leaves green and retired with just 2 cards in hand now.
Now that Bardo blocker, it returns a 2 cost, right?
A 1 to the bottom of the deck
A
as well.
1
So
cost. Okay.
we did see last game it get comboed with the Momonosuke. So looks like he
I
ends
think
up.
that's a heat and wire trigger. So heat and wire triggers play the card, and then on play, you can rest a card that's equal to or less than the amount of life cards your opponent has.
And he also does the 10-layer igloo, which gives him an extra 1k buff to his leader, which could be what he potentially needs. I mean, again, he's still sitting in a pretty rough spot here after that
Yeah.
Ryuma double attack, especially since he got nothing to hand. He did trigger out both of the cards, which could be beneficial, but also not at the same time. And again, Jimmy J only has 3 cards in hand too, so if he plays anything out, potentially green just goes for game next turn, which is what he's going to have to do.
It's possible, yeah, 9 lead. Not going to be countering out of that.
And he establishes the Buffalo again, so leaves him with 2 cards in hand, 3 life. Not sure if there's a world where green and retired really gets out of here unless he's able to establish a blocker and pretty much clear all of Jimmy's board here.
Yeah, I mean, it's still possible. I believe he just got the 2 cost red counter event, I believe. So, I mean, that does give a possibility of living next turn. Or no,
Looks like
this
that was the
is.
Gum Gum UFO.
Yeah.
There it goes. Really trippy. So he decides to use the Gum Gum UFO to give a reduction to the Buffalo to give his leader a 1k buff when he could have attached 2 Dawn and swung 7 instead.
Yeah, I'm not sure because it doesn't transfer over to opponent's turn.
So he swings 7 at his leader, swinging 6. Again, this all comes down to whether Jimmy takes all these swings or not. And ends up countering, and that is no longer,
Yeah, that's not an
game.
option anymore.
But really, there is no. Even if you clear the 2 characters on board, Jimmy still has 2 swings here. And very unfortunate that he decides to swing at the Brook. The Brook on KO can rest either a character or a 5 cost or less.
Yep.
So ends up resting the Barto. And that is pretty much Jimmy's game here at this point. I believe just using that UFO was just kind of where it went wrong for Green and retired there.
Yeah, because then you would have had another Dawn to play with. Chances were still pretty low
Hmm.
to get through all the life, but definitely could have done some better math.
Yeah. Yeah, so ends up going in, and that is game. Jimmy J taking round 2. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think that's where the turn went wrong, in my opinion, establishing or using that UFO to give that extra 1K to one of the characters
yep,
when you could have just attached the 2 and swung bigger. So you basically went down and on. It'd be good in the chance if he was trying to board remove
yep.
and potentially lower something, but I kind of went a little sideways for him there.
Yeah, I mean, there really wasn't. I mean, besides trying to go for game, that's all you could do.
Yeah, especially with Jimmy establishing that other buffalo. There was nothing else. If he didn't establish the buffalo, he could have potentially waited an extra turn after clearing the board. But it also depends on if Jimmy J can find any removal for the Barto. But
Yeah, we also got to see, well, for both players, uh, how much of a nuisance that Ryuma is
yeah, that
in this.
Ryuma is disgusting. Already a 4-6-1 down. You're swinging for 7 double. You're asking for 2 cards automatically.
Yeah, because this whole game was just a battle of Ryumas. They
Hmm.
both went down heavily in hand size. Um, but yeah, there could have been maybe like a little bit better battle math to get rid of the Ryumas faster.
Yeah. But unfortunately, that's just how it crumbles in this
Yep.
format. Depends on who has the most 2Ks, who can see the most counter, who can keep the board under control.
Yeah, because that would have been one of the things. Like, yeah, you can definitely get rid of the Ryuma, but then you're not developing anything, and then your opponent can just come back, put
Hmm.
2-3 cards on board.
Exactly what happens here. But there's still about 19 minutes left in the round. Couple players still in their games. If you guys are interested in this format and are in the Chicagoland area towards the Bolingbrook suburbs, this Wednesday they are going to be doing another pre-release. So sign up, get your chance to win one of these winter pre-release buggies, which are very nice.
Yeah, yeah, no, they are.
Ended up winning one for myself yesterday. Went through a 5-round gauntlet. But definitely come check us out at the Abode. Sign up on the app.
Yep.
Get your placement in. Sign up for waitlist. Maybe you guys get in. They took in about, I believe there's like 30 something players here today. More potentially.
Yeah, and then I don't know what the signups are looking like right now for, was it a case tournament on
31. Oh
Sunday?
yes. So next Sunday is gonna be an OP10 case tournament at the Abode.
Hmm.
$25 entry. You get 4 packs of OP10 and a Sully's Abode exclusive pool, which is essentially regional cards. You can get a
Yeah.
Kobe back from set 1, which is a $50 card you could potentially pull out of there. So
Hmm.
definitely worth checking out. First place, I believe, gets 4 boxes, and then it gets divvied out from there. If you want to come play with your friends at 2 p.m., they are going to be hosting a 3v3 side event tournament.
Hmm.
So I believe that was an 8-team minimum, no cap. So as long as you come in, there's 8 teams that are willing to do it. Play it for 3 boxes, a box for each of your teammates.
Yeah.
But without further ado, we will be coming right back after, before the next round starts. teammates, and we are back. In a second, you hear our voices. All right, we are back. Going into round 3 of OP10 pre-release here. And we are going to see Jimmy J back at the top table here.
Yep,
But
facing Dimzy.
Demise. So Demise is one of our buddies here. He pulled pretty cracked, honestly,
Yeah,
for
no,
the
he
event.
did well. Yeah, no, I think pretty much everything he pulled, besides like a 5-cost Kuzan, like he got some good utility and great cards.
Yeah, so you do see here, Demise is on the right, and we got Jimmy J on the left again. So very interested to see where this is going to go. They are playing for obviously the pre-release buggy
Yep.
and pack per head, so definitely worth winning here. Pricing is going to be OP10 as well.
Yep, and there's going to be, I think, top 4 get the winner buggies, and then there's going to be 2 raffled off at the end.
Correct, yeah. So even if you don't go undefeated or X1 at the end, you still have a chance as long as you stick it out to the very end.
Yeah.
Ooh. That's fine. So who do you think's gonna win? You think Jimmy's gonna take it again?
Well, there might be some cards that we don't know that Jimmy has. So, I mean, there could be some new surprises. We only know some of the stuff that Demise pulled. Just, he's our friend, so we checked it out.
Mm-hmm. He pulled very well. I know he has the Kuzan.
Yeah, I think he got Rosinante, and I know he got a Kairos.
Kyros, yeah.
Kyros, and I believe he also got the 6-cost Secret Luffy.
Oh, and that card in this format is very good. It's
Yeah,
got an ability, bottom deck 3 cards on attack. Your opponent, if they have 5 or more cards, will have to trash a card. So no matter what, they're losing a card from their
yeah.
hand. So an absolutely great card for this format. And you do see Jimmy J keeping his first hand
Yep.
automatically.
And also, too, that Luffy might not seem great normally for sealed, but it does protect itself once per turn from KO effects.
Mm-hmm. Which is very good facing a black mirror. So we do see Jimmy J taking first again, which again I say is probably the best thing to choose in this
Yeah.
format. And it's just a Dawn pass for both of these players here. Which the best thing if you're going second is probably finding one of these 2-cost blockers, but did not find it obviously. Jimmy J doing the first 5K swing, Demise taking it.
And there's the Zoro again.
He's just meant to see this guy. It's a the 3-5 vanilla. So there you go. Jimmy J going exactly the same as last game. And then Demise swinging with a 5, also taking it from Jimmy's side there.
Oh,
Ooh. Ends up playing out the
perfect.
Shiryu from the Blackbeard Pirates, which is an on play if your leader is a Blackbeard Pirates. KO a character with a base cost of 3. So
Yeah. And at this point in the game, it being a 7K on opponent's turn is really great value.
this character will stick for a couple turns here. So now Demise can continue to put pressure on Jimmy here. Oh, however, Jimmy establishes a 5-7 on his side. Not sure what character that is, but we do know that stat line. This is a 5-7.
Looks to be a Diamante.
Yeah, yeah, it's Diamante. Still, this Shiryu gets some type of protection next turn, and it's going to be a pseudo blocker.
Yeah.
6 hands in Jimmy's hand. 6 cards in Jimmy's hand. Imagine if he had 6 hands.
Yeah, because also, too, with that Shiryu being a 7K on opponent's turn, he can just swing 7 in the 7, but that's just an easy 1K out. So that could also throw off, Curve playing more than one character on the turn.
Mm-hmm. And you do see Demise swinging 5 with the Shiryu to Jimmy J. Looks like he is going to counter out of this swing.
Yep.
Ends up giving him a 1K, going down to 5 cards in hand now. Amadeus also here, or Demise, has a decent size hand as well.
Yeah, which honestly, just swinging a couple fives, I mean, you really don't need to attach Dawn this turn. You just want to keep playing big characters.
Mm-hmm. And Jimmy ends up taking that swing there, and Demise establishes a Nico Robin.
Yep, a 6 cost 8K vanilla.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to the stream, everyone. Ends up swinging 7 in the 5. However, the Shiryu is a 7K on
Yep.
the opponent's turn.
Oh,
Oh,
maybe he doesn't know?
yeah, I guess this is where it's really important to read the cards.
Yeah.
Reading the text on the card explains the card, as the professor in Magic says. But yeah, very unfortunate there. That would have just been a 1K counter to keep that Shiryu on the field.
Yeah, and I think it actually would have been pretty valuable to keep on the field because it's just ripping more cards out of hand.
Mm-hmm. And then Jimmy, that would have wasted a swing there.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate there for Demise.
Because then, too, he'd have to think, am I going to swing 7 with lead at it?
Mm-hmm. And now he's opting to swing 6 here. Is he going to counter out with a 2K? That's even if he has a 2K. Takes it. Interesting.
I don't necessarily think it was a bad idea either, because he might try and crash that Nico Robin.
Oh, and he
What?
establishes the secret Luffy that we
Yep.
were talking about right before the stream or before the match.
Yeah, right before the match.
So this is going to be very crucial here because Demise has more than 5 cards in hand here. Jimmy just needs to put one more card in his trash, and he will be able to use that when attacking ability on the Luffy here. Yeah, Demise is sitting in a pretty rough spot. You do see the Kyros in his hand there, however.
You see the Kuro, so you could bounce that Diamante back, so that way you don't even have to swing into it.
Correct. Yeah, it takes some pressure off as well because then all he would need to focus on is the secret
Yep.
Luffy, as well as being able to swing over it since it is going to have 2K more attack than it.
Which I think he might be leaning towards that.
It's going to swing 6 at leader here. Do you think it would have potentially been a little better to attach it down on the Robin and swinging over Diamante?
With the Dawn that he has up, it
Or
looks
potentially
like
going for
he's going for a Kyros play, so he wants to pay that no mind.
However, you could have taken cards out of his hand.
Go.
Yep, so ends up bouncing it. I think the better play would have potential. It's still a good play, but I think trying to bait out some of these cards out of Jimmy's hand is what he wants to do there. Takes away some of the plays from Jimmy.
Yeah, it does. But at the same time, Demise may want to start going a little faster because he's at 2 life, and that Luffy will rip 1 card out of hand, which doesn't seem like a lot. But again, I think, is it a random trash?
No, he would get to choose.
You choose on this one? Okay.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Jimmy also has a lot of cards in hand right now, which
Yeah.
can be used to protect this Luffy, which is why I say baiting out some of these cards from his hand would have potentially been a better option to do here.
Yeah.
Yep, so he's opting to swing 5 at leader here. Probably just going to give him a 1K here. Yep.
Yeah, and I think with the big bodies that Demise has on board, I could see Jimmy just kind of going for, get some cards out of hand with swing with lead, get your Luffy, they'll rip. Well, he either takes it and just rips 1, or he counters out and then trashes another one, and then maybe just, block her up a little bit.
Yeah. He is also in range for the Luffy ability here. He is sitting at 8 cards in hand, so
Yep.
Jimmy decides just to swing at life. He is going to take 1 card no matter what, bringing him down to 7. And if he wants to counter out of that 7, he's going to have to give another 2 cards at the minimum,
Which I
bringing him
think
down to
because the
5.
situation, I feel like you almost have to take that life from Luffy.
Yeah.
Just because it's ripping an extra card out already.
And then swing over it with the Kyros this upcoming turn.
Yep.
But it all depends if Jimmy establishes a blocker, that whole turn kind of goes sideways.
Well, I think it depends what he's going to put on board,
Mm-hmm.
where he might choose to just ignore the Luffy.
Yep, so here he goes. Activated that Luffy ability. Is trashing an event card
I
there.
think that's the 6K bottom deck.
Is that blue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the 6K removal event. Which that Luffy is just 1K out of range for it as well, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, and with the KO protection, there's honestly not much in this set to just remove it with one card.
And there goes the blocker.
Yep.
Establishes this dragon, 2-cost blocker there.
Seems like
So even if you wanted to swing over the Luffy, he's
another
not going to be able
5,
to.
maybe another vanilla for 5/7. Or nope, taking that back.
Looks like tapping 4 there. Ryuma? Yup,
Yep.
establishes Ryuma. Which next turn, with Demise being at exactly 2 life, this Ryuma will be able to take all the life there. If it connects.
Yeah, so you're pretty much forced to counter out of it.
Mm-hmm. As well as the Luffy, like I said, there's no 3 cards in Jimmy's trash, so he will not be able to activate that when attacking ability next turn. Which could potentially benefit Demise here.
Jimmy also has 4 Dawn up. It looks like he has the Punk Hazard 2K or 2-cost event.
The 10-layer igloo?
Yeah, the one that's actually good. Yeah.
Yep, 10-layer igloo. Such a great card. +3 to a character leader and then -2 on one of your opponents. Which will protect the Luffy no matter what, because Kyros is just 2K above it.
Yeah, and with like a block or two, you just ignore it. You just go for life at this point. So I don't know what events Demise still has in hand, but I'm assuming he has a couple counter events.
Potentially. And then this goes back to what I was saying. There's Damned Punk, which can look at the top of your life or your opponent's life and KO a 5 cost or less,
Yeah.
which could get rid of the Ryuma. There's the Radio Knife that the green has that can rest a 6 and KO a rested 5, I believe, which again can KO the Ryuma.
Yeah.
Try to get rid of some of this pressure on Jimmy J's side of the field. At best, if he can get rid of the Ryuma, he's going to be sitting in a better spot, essentially.
Yep.
Swings 5 to just poke here. Jimmy gives him a 1, which I believe puts him down to 5 cards in hand now.
And also, too, depending how he counters, he might get another 2 more in trash to be able to use Luffy's ability again.
Which is potentially what he's going to try to opt to do here. So I think he's swinging 9 at his leader. Ends up taking it. Again, knowing what it's in Jimmy's hand, he was able to get out of it. And there goes that 10-layer igloo.
Surprised he opted to use it now and not on the Kairos swing. I know he still would have had to give some more counter, but
It could have skewed Demise's turn. However, looking at Jimmy J's trash, he now has enough to be able to do the Luffy ability next turn now as well.
and I think Demise's hand is still relatively healthy. Where even with the trash, I don't think it's the end of the world. Because, yeah, it looks like he definitely has some events he's holding on
So
to.
he's got a lot of events. He still has all 10 done as well.
He might also be purposely going under 5 cards in hand. just so at least he gets value out of the card.
Talking about demise.
Yeah.
Potentially, I think he's got over 5.
I think he's at 6,
Yeah. No, he should be at
maybe 7.
8
At 8 in hand? Oh, I thought
potentially,
it was
because the
less.
Luffy only trashed 1, and I think he took the life as well. Yeah, Demise really thinking about what to do here. As we saw in his hand, he does have a lot of event cards, so potentially deciding on whether potentially establishing one of the bodies, I'm not sure what he has, or just holding up all 10 Don for an event play this upcoming for counter.
Yeah, because if he had some blockers, I'm assuming he probably would have put him down by now. So yeah, maybe trying to put out the best body he can while keeping up enough Dawn where he's going to survive, and his character should survive too.
So he establishes
Two
two Bellamy's here, which are 2 blockers, which is very good.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He was at 6, so he's purposely going under
Yep. So
5.
now this Luffy ability will not be able to trigger here.
Nope.
Very smart play, unless he takes the Ryuma swing and takes both cards.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see that happening. But
It's a possibility that can happen. Oof.
ooh, rest 2.
He just established the Isho. Isho is an on-play rest 2 5-cost characters on play. Very good for this format here as well.
Yep.
So very lucky for Jimmy to have that card.
Great value. It did force him to use 5 Dawn to play it, though. Which you could see it as unfortunate.
It could, unless he's trying to go for lethal here, which he could just attach 1 Dawn onto this Ryuma, swing for 7 for double,
He
and
could.
kind of bait out whatever else is in Demise's hand here.
Yeah, because he still does have a chump blocker, so he should still be okay next turn.
He's going 8 at life, so he's going for the double attack here. And then, again, if this connects, it'll put Demise back at 6 cards in hand and activating the Luffy ability.
Yep.
Do you take it to bait it so that he doesn't swing at one of the characters?
Well, it depends on his hand. If 4 Dawn really is all for counter events and there's no bluffing.
Oh, he might have the sugar counter event. Yep, so that's going to give him plus 4K, and since he's got 7 or more Dawn and less than 5 cards, he gets to draw 1 as well.
So still under the 5 threshold and cycling.
And gets out of that swing as well.
No, I think it was better to do that because then you're just in a bad spot where you're completely forced to go for game next turn, which you still should.
And again, imagine if Demise would have kept the Shiryu and realized that it was actually 7K on Jimmy J's turn.
So here, I think he's going to try and swing for 8, just so he draws a card off a life and then swing 7, and then rip another one out, and then also having a counter out.
It is an option. He does have 1 event card. It's a yellow one, which could be Room, or the other one that gives him a plus 4K on the swing. Let's meet in the new world. But it's only 1 Dawn left, so you wouldn't even be able to activate that event card. But it's looking like it's Room. But
Yeah,
Room is only active when you are at 1 life.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's swinging 6 at Bellamy.
Oh, no. Didn't read the card correctly.
No, yeah.
Should not have triggered off, but you know, this is sealed, so we're just kind of letting it go. We're not going to stop board states. I could be wrong, but it looks like Jimmy is bluffing an event to hopefully throw off some math, or maybe just leaving it up if he gets it in life.
Potentially hoping for a 10-layer igloo, which
Yeah, because
is going to be what he needs, to be
with the
honest.
9K and 8K body, I mean, it's completely possible to get game. But if you're going to go for game, you got to make sure you're, you know, getting game.
Ooh, looks like he swings 11 and Jimmy takes it. Swinging at 11, he does have the blocker left.
He does have a blocker. I'm not sure how many 2Ks he has. But yeah, Demise just realized, yeah, I just got to go for game.
Potentially swinging 5 with the Bellamy to bait out more counter. Then going all in.
Potentially. Also, too, in pre-releases, sometimes it is good to check for a 2K. Because swinging a 6, like, you'll know right away.
Yeah.
Because you could do 11 or 6-8, but I think, or wait, no, was that 10?
Nuts. Yeah, so swinging 5 and then 9 would probably be a little better here. And looks like Jimmy J is probably bluffing the 2 down, as you do see him continuously grabbing them. Not sure if he does have an event. I didn't see.
Yeah, the 5-9 probably is better. Really.
5 with his leader.
It's interesting. Unless
Oh,
he's just confident, because he does have 2 life, but that Ryuma, well, 2 blockers.
opposite. Yeah, so 3 down up potentially has another one of those sugar event cards.
Yeah, looks like he does have another event. Now he does have Shiryu the pop, the 2 cost, well, either blocker. Which for 4 Dawn might work in his favor.
Looks like it. 10 Dawn. 3 in hand, so the Luffy ability is not active also.
I mean, as long as Ryuma doesn't go through, he's still realistically okay.
And even if he swings big with the Ryuma, he could just give him the dragon blocker.
Yeah.
And it looks like he is opting to do the Ryuma swing first.
Actually, a little surprised about that. But I guess, too, if he swings with one of the others, Demise might take that as an opportunity
For
to
a
just
card.
take that, so double attack doesn't even matter.
However, again, this could just be the dragon blocking, unless that's what exactly what he wants to do, and then it's going to attach
Yeah.
Don to swing at the characters on the field.
Yeah, and there goes that blocker. So he's probably going to try and KO
Was that the
Demise's
Usopp?
characters. No, what do you mean? He Shiryu'd, KO'd
Oh, was it
Bellamy.
Shiryu?
Yeah.
Potentially now going to go for clearing the board.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But for clearing the board,
Nope, he's gonna go to leader here.
yeah, I was going to say clearing the board is very risky because you have to reach some high numbers, and Luffy is the closest to it.
So 7 the leader. Demise decides to take it here.
Yep.
Potentially,
Yeah, 4 in hand, so can't do the ability. He wants to try and bait that 5 into life.
yep, that's exactly what he's gonna try to do here. Even if he
Oh.
swings 7 here, looks like Demise does have that counter event here.
Yeah, I believe Demise is fine. Yep, looks like the sugar event.
Yep.
He can get rid of Robin.
Potentially. He could
But,
just
I mean,
counter
I
out.
think he's just dead in the water. He doesn't have any Dawn left, and that's game.
Yep, Demise able to go with 3 big swings here, or just all on Kiro's going for a 19K swing. And here he goes baiting the counter. And that is game. Demise takes
Yeah, that's what I
round
was.
3.
That's what I was thinking too. Where, like, you just kind of leave that Luffy alone. For where the board state was at, I don't think it would have been a losing battle at the time to try and go for it. It was
Yeah.
better to get meaningful hits into his life to make him use those counter events.
Yeah, and there's a couple misplays in the game, but again, that comes with the pre-release. All new
Yeah.
cards. Very important that you read the cards. Sometimes it benefits you. Sometimes it just shouldn't happen, but it is what it is in the format. Very unfortunate for both players. But again, it just goes, read the card. It can do so much for you, especially at big events. You don't want to let something slide at these bigger events as well.
Yeah, because, like, being honest, that room event being
And the
used wrong
Shiryu.
saved the whole game.
And the Shiryu.
Yeah, there was the Shiryu, and then not like reading it wrong, but definitely a misplay on the Igloo
Yeah.
event.
There is about 4 minutes left in the round. We are going to be taking a short break. Should be pretty quick to the round 4 event. So round 4 round. Jesus. Start of round 4.
Round 4.
So we will be right back here in a second. And we are back. That was a short break there. Going into round 4, we have Benjamin
And Beef
and
Supreme.
Beef Supreme. Both are best friends. So no matter what, one of them is knocking each other out of the buggy promo here. And
Yeah.
we did see Benjamin on stream earlier.
Yep. And I believe this is second to last round, so we should have one more round after this.
There's going to be one more after this one. So it's going to be very interesting here. Both are very good players. Beef Supreme on the right, and we have Benjamin on the left. Ben kind of bounce around decks between here and there. I know Supreme is usually a yellow player,
Yep.
plays category very heavily, and has been playing Smoker a lot recently.
Never took him for a smoker player.
Yeah, but that's what he is.
Oh.
So
Hey guys.
it's going to be very interesting. See how they go.
It's so you can't hear us. Ben's already giving up.
Yeah.
So now this is the Punk Hazard event that gives Arrested Dawn, correct?
I don't think they realize that stream can't hear them.
No.
So he should be, yeah, for Dawn. That Punk Hazard stage is the one where you could tap it and attach your rest to Dawn to, I believe, his leader. So raising them up so they can hear each other there.
5 lead. Ben takes it.
So that Inazuma is attach a Dawn, and when you attack, you can rest a character equal to the amount of life your opponent has.
Yep. A very good early game card.
And you do see now Benjamin establishing the Diamante.
Yep.
And since Benjamin is still at 5 life, if Beef Supreme decided to attach a Dawn right on the Inazuma and swinging at lead, he could rest the Diamante. However, that would kind of just take a majority of the turn there. And you do see Benjamin deciding whether or not to trigger the card. Nothing there. Maybe he was trying to bluff a trigger.
All right, 2K check.
But you do see this Punk Hazard stage now. You saw how it works. Establishing a 6-8 Cavendish and then still being able to swing 6.
Yeah, being able to swing 6 every turn is just, again, really great in this format because it just checks for 2Ks.
And the Inazuma ends up being cleared. Not worth countering because, again, the Diamante is on the field, so it's potentially just going to get cleared regardless.
Please. Can't remember his name. I think it's a 7-9 vanilla.
Yeah, looks like it.
And he opted not to swing with Diamante just so it isn't attacked at.
Let's see. I can't find that card.
Should we blue? It's
Hedruden.
Hajruden.
Yep, it's a 7-9. This does get around Divine Departure as well.
Yeah, I think it gets past like all the KO effects.
And you do see Beef Supreme ends up establishing 2, 3, 5 bodies, Brownbeard and the Zoro, and then using the stage to give himself a Rest of Dawn, swinging 8 at Benjamin's life, which looks like he's down to 2. can't tell with the color of the sleeves.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like Ben is down to 2. Beef Supreme is sitting at 4 life.
Yeah, 9's a heavy hit, but Beef Supreme is plenty healthy.
hmm And you do see Ben's checking for a 5K. Ends up countering out of the first one, takes the 7K, ends up seeing the 10-layer Igloo. Decides not to trigger it, though, because it is going to be more beneficial on the next turn.
Yep. Especially with two big bodies like this. So
hmm
swinging with his Cavendish is a lot safer.
Yeah.
Playing down another
And
big
he's
guy.
plays out Burgess.
That's don't you have to have like a certain amount of cards in trash?
Yeah, but he played out a Burgess and another character. He also needs to attach 1 Don as well.
Yeah.
And he established the 2-cost blocker from Germa. The Soldier. The Replicate Soldier. So here we go here. That Brown Beard also has an ability where it gets a 1K buff if he has one 6-cost or one 6K character.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty good.
But again, a 6K swing, it's nothing to scoff at.
It's not, but it will require a 2K. But if he does attach a Don on the Brown Beard, it will no longer get that 1K buff.
Yeah, because it is counting itself.
Mm-hmm. And you do see Beef Supreme doing the math here. Probably going to save 2 Don for that 10-layer Igloo on Ben's Jam in turn.
Oh,
Oof, that is very good. Sure you to pop that Replicate Soldier there. That's a pretty good pre-release card. Not sure what else he has in his hand.
yeah, I don't know if
Looks
he...
like a Burgess. Looks like he has his own Burgess as well. Ends up going 6 to leader. Starting to poke at Ben's jamming here. Ben does have a decent amount of counter cards. Opts to take it. Does he continue to pressure?
Yeah, I think he's confident in his counter power.
Mm-hmm.
Because being at 2 life, like, he's still okay.
9 cards in hand. Looks like he's potentially trying to bait bait the swings here. It's like Ben feels very confident. But now him taking all that life kind of throws off Beef Supreme here because looks like he was potentially just going to go lethal. And now he's probably thinking he's bluffing.
Yeah, and I don't know how much... it looks like just the one event. So, if we're talking about the Igloo event, I would actually put 2 on Cavendish because then he has to use everything on the Igloo event to get him down to 5, counter again, and then swing 6 with lead.
And we're going 6 with his leader first, which is probably the better option here. 2 1Ks. Again, now this does Beef swing everything on the Cavendish.
Looks like he's keeping 2 more up. Maybe he does have a blocker.
Ends up countering out with 1, or the Meet You in the New World.
Yeah.
Potentially, if he would have just attached 1 Don to the Cavendish, would have been a little better. But he left 2 Don for the Dragon, so he at least has a blocker. And he does have that 10-layer Igloo to try to get around this turn.
Yep.
Ben's already doing the math in his head. Doesn't see a way to win this match.
Yeah, because I mean, going for board isn't really going to do too much.
Yeah, Ben's trying to figure out the best way to go through here. Potentially, what is that? They got a 9K swing. Burgess is at what, a 7?
It's a 6. It's a 5-6.
Maybe going nine across the board.
Yeah, I think that's all you can
That's the better thing
do.
to do. However, we do know that beef does have the 10-layer igloo.
Hmm.
Going over the last turn, how Ben's had 9 cards in hand. He thought Beef would have went in for the game, but Beef played it correctly, not going all in there.
Yeah, there's no need to. Looks like he's going 8.
Ends up going 8 with the Burgess here.
So you just
Counters out with 2-2Ks. And Ben concedes there. Beef Supreme taking round 4.
yeah, that Shiryu popping the blocker actually made big difference where that was kind of the seal in the coffin for Ben.
Yeah, and then just having all that stuff, all that counter event as well, and then
Hmm.
going as wide as Beef did, Ben couldn't really do much with that.
Yeah, that igloo being able to go in like 2 different directions almost really
Hmm.
throws off a lot of the dawn math that you would
Yeah.
normally do in a sealed event.
Oh yeah. So for top 6, so we're top 4 right now. So there was 4 undefeated, as you just saw. Ben's Jammin lost, so Beef Supreme going on to the finals here. We have Demise from last round facing off Juju, who is another returning player here. Really excited to see who makes it. Both are good players. Juju
Yeah.
has been a minute since I've seen him around here. In third seed, I guess the top 6 other 2 players would be Robin Fan, 117, and Wheezing Fat Cat. Very interesting name. But again, the prizing is going to go to top 4 players. So even if there are X1s, they still have a chance of potentially bumping into second to fourth place.
Yeah, because also too, I mean, depending who they face and won against, maybe in the first couple rounds, if they dropped out, if they aren't doing well, the top 4 bubbling is not crazy.
Yeah, and a lot of the players are going to try to stick it out because, again, there are 2
Hmm.
buggies being raffled off as well.
Yeah.
So can't wait to see who's going to make it to the finals and who wins the pre-release buggy, as well as all the packs you get for playing. It's pack per head here, so someone is going to be taking
Hmm.
more than a box home potentially.
Yeah, a good amount because what was the show? Probably
31. I
31.
saw
Yeah.
31 on here, so
Yeah. No, that's a good turnout. Yeah.
yeah,
So it's
so
probably over a box for winning, I think.
yeah, so very interested to see. Misery's Company. Let's see. Misery has dropped. Oh no. They're at table 4.
Yeah.
So they are 2-1.
Um, yes. As of right now, yeah, because it's still the middle of the 4th round.
Yeah. So if he wins next round, potentially still has a chance to win the buggy. Yeah, 2-1 right now. This round and the next round are going to be very dependent on
Hmm.
for Misery's Company. But we are going to be taking a short break. They still have roughly about, looks like, a little over 15 minutes. Couple rounds have already finished, so we will see. Huge fan. Andy is a very good player, so let's see if he actually wins a buggy today. How is
Yeah.
your record against Andy? I know it was always a battle of the Andrews.
Honestly, he probably has a little over me. But, I mean, we were always close to 50-50, especially when we did a lot of law mirrors together. Um, but my goal was always to just make him as mad as possible, playing the worst decks possible. Like, I made him rage one time when I was playing Purple Shanks. I still lost, but I think he must have went through, like, 3/4 of his deck.
Jesus Christ. He does have a top, what is it, top 4 at Nats?
He was 5th place.
5th, so even then,
Yeah.
pretty much there. So yeah, we will be going on this short break, roughly about 15 minutes, so we will be right back. All right, and we are back for the final round. It is going to be Beef Supreme, who we saw win last round, against Demise, who ended up beating Juju in that last round. So very interesting. We now know what each of them pulled for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we saw anything particularly crazy that Beef Supreme has used yet, because it ended up being a decently quick game.
That is true. But we do know some of the stuff that Demise has. But
Hmm.
again, it all just comes down to, in this format, what you see, because you can have the stuff and absolutely not see it, since a lot of it is
Oh
not
yeah.
searchable. So very interesting. Let's see where this goes. Man, I didn't think Rainbow Luffy was gonna make it to the finals today.
I don't know, just another mirror match. It's a very popular deck today.
Everyone wants to play it.
Must have been the ban list.
Yeah, for real. Ban all of the leaders. This is where we're at.
uh,
So Demise decides to keep his hand. Obviously, probably sees exactly what he wants. Beef Supreme
man.
is mulliganing. There you go. So Demise found the one card that he hasn't seen all day, is what he just said
Is
to
it the
Beef
Luffy?
Supreme.
Why do I feel like it's the Luffy? Or maybe not.
No, not exactly sure what it is, but it's
Trying to think of what
something that he
card it
wanted
would
to see
be.
for sure.
Unless I think he might have also had the Rosinante, so maybe that's what he was looking for.
Potentially.
Because again, as we've been seeing in all these games, um, leaving Dawn up for events is pretty much needed with how good the events are.
Yep.
But yeah, getting that free 2 Dawn every turn.
Yeah. And there he goes. The Punk Hazard sees the Sage, which is very essential.
Yep.
That is the one card he wanted to see this entire match, he just stated, to be the premier. So ends up swinging 5. Demise takes it as like a common thing we've noticed.
Yep.
And the Sanji, the super rare Sanji, that gives you a +3 on your own turn. So 6, but then it is a pseudo blocker. So let's see what Demise is going to do on the clapback here.
Yeah, he saw the stage, but what's his curves looking like?
Doing 6, which is very interesting.
Gonna leave
No
2 up
trigger
front
for
of
Beef Supreme. Potentially could have just established Brook
swung 7.
and swung 7. However, I do see why he chose not to, because there's a chance that he could have triggered out an event card that could have rested the Brook or KO'd the Brook.
That's true. Playing it the correct way that we normally would.
Mm-hmm. So the Sanji is going to swing 6. Demise takes
Yep.
this as well. Looks like there's a trigger there as well. Ooh,
That
does
way
get the
he's
trigger, the Sanji.
yeah. That way he's not wasting a swing.
Mm-hmm. Does, however, get the draw, which is good for Beef Supreme.
Mm-hmm.
Ends up swinging 6, still putting some pressure. Demise might want to counter out. Ooh, thought he would have countered out of that one.
I don't think it's the craziest thing though to kind of hoard some cards in hand.
Yeah. And then he establishes the Shiryu, which will KO the Brook, but will also rest the Shiryu because of Brook's ability.
But in this situation, it being rested really doesn't mean a whole lot because it's still a 7K on this turn.
So essentially the only way around it is going to be one of these event cards, which we have yet to see today. I haven't seen a Radio Knife or a Damned Punk at all. So Beef Supreme having the somewhat advantage here, obviously establishing the Shiryu, but also having that, 5K that turns into a 7 and can just put pressure on Demise here. He's already at 2 life. Although taking him very generously is not a good spot to be in right now. Only at 6 down. Ends up KOing the
Interesting.
Shiryu with Divine Departure.
I think that was somewhat okay though, just to get a body off the board.
Yeah, it also could have been good to keep in case he plays something bigger.
Yeah.
However, that was something to get rid of because it was just going to essentially be a wall with it being a 7K on Demise's turn.
He also might not have too many meaningful bodies to play right now.
That is true, but again, this format, you kind of want to focus on the board removal, so I can see why he
Yeah.
did the Divine Departure. Oof. 2 1Ks. And this is where the Divine Departure would have been very
Yep.
good to get rid of this
For
Frankie
the
here.
6/8.
So 8 Dawn here. Not sure what Demise has in the hand to establish here. Looks like he might consider swinging 8 here.
He could. I know there's potential triggers, but it's also good to utilize that stage.
That is true. Looks like he's tapping 6.
Yep.
So establishing his own 6/8 here. And looks like continuing to put pressure with the 6K swings here.
So he's keeping up one.
Mm-hmm. Potentially trying to bluff a counter.
Yeah, possibly. Besides room, well, I guess Divine Departure is another. Uh,
And you do see Beef Supreme establishing his own Punk Hazard now. Which again is very good in this format.
mhm.
Getting that free Dawn to swing. So Beef Supreme here trying to figure out the math. Oof. Looks like they're gonna go for a 7.
Yep.
This kind of shows that Demise probably has no counter in hand as well.
Yeah, clearly doesn't have a lot. I think that is room.
Hmm. Yep. At least pitch another 1. So maybe that's why he took the life. Although still not sitting in a good spot, however.
Well, I think he still would have preferred not to take the first life, but 7 was a good number for that.
Hmm. And Beef Supreme doing the right thing here,
Just
deciding to
going
go
wide.
wide. Yeah. Which is what you need to do. Oh, and establishing a blocker as well. So if he decides to try to swing over this Frankie, has some type of counter for it. Five in hand for Beef Supreme here. Demise not sitting in a good spot. Beef Supreme has been able to find every single answer from these draws that he's been getting. And looks like he might have an event card as well. No Dawn up though, but still, he does have that in his back pocket. Potentially that's 10 layer igloo.
Yeah, and with how healthy Beef Supreme is, like he's just in a really great position, and controlling the board is kind of difficult right now when you only
Hmm.
have one character.
Yep. And he decides to swing 10 at the Frankie. Beef countering out with 3K counter, going down to 3 cards in hand. sort of where you want to be at. Even if he swung a little bit more, he does have the Bellamy to be able to counter
Yeah.
out of that. And there it goes, a 10.
Yep.
3 up, potentially that sugar event again, that plus 4K. Draw 1.
Yeah, potentially. They'll stop maybe one attack here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with only that event, you're really banking on maybe drawing a 2K. But then there's not really a way that he can't go for game next turn. It's just not
No, he cannot.
possible.
Ooh, he's
Oh,
going to go for the board clear here. So -3 onto the Robin.
yeah.
Gets rid of the Robin.
Interesting.
6, now he's putting the pressure on. I don't think there's any way around this here for Demise.
No.
Ends up using that sugar event to get out. Plus 4K here. Staying at 1 life. Not sure what else he has in his hand here. But Beef Supreme having 3 bodies on the field is not a good state here.
No, I'm not sure if there's any. I mean, you could Liberation.
And that is if
Attack
he
into
has
something else.
Liberation.
Yeah.
Potentially, Liberation will only be able to get rid of Frankie and the Zorro. Since the Smiley is a 5, Liberation only hits a 6 and a 4. So unable to hit the Smiley.
Yeah, because then after that, you really don't have. You can swing into Frankie, but at that point, it would just. It's not really doing anything.
Yeah. And here you go. Demise is trying to figure out the math here. Potentially gonna attempt to swing at one of these rested characters here. Yeah, unfortunately, I think it is gonna be the downfall of Demise here in the finals. Really trying to math it out here, though. Bet you 10K swing at Frankie.
Yeah, probably. Tank.
So Burgess being established is a 5-6.
He does have Rush.
Gives it a rush off the Punk Hazard, which is a nice little combo there. Does he swing big into the Frankie? Yep, decides to go 10 in the Frankie. Clearing the Frankie. Does he try to swing? Yep, 7 in the Zorro. Beef Supreme saves it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately here, 3 swings for Beef Supreme. No cards in hand other than the one that he just drew. It's going to just swing out. 9 to leader and then just stacking it all on the Zorro. And Beef Supreme taking the OP10 pre-release.
Yeah, honestly, I think that Shiryu just started the downfall.
Yeah, being able to pop the Brook, and that's something that he needed to kind of deter some of that pressure away. Being able to rest something, but obviously being KO'd, resting the Shiryu, it being a 7K is not going to do nothing for Demise there. So
Yeah.
very unfortunate, but at the end of the day, Beef Supreme taking another W here at the Abode. Especially now has the bootlicking buggy,
Ugh.
which
Yeah.
is the promo you needed to keep Doflamingo in check.
Yeah.
So congrats to Beef Supreme. And of course, again, pack per head. 31 people, I think, showed up. So he's going to be taking a lot of prizing home here today.
Yep. And
So-
we'll have to finish all our matches before we really have a good idea of who's in top 4. Because,
so-
again, it just depends who you played in the early
Yeah,
games.
tiebreakers matters. Again, Demise only lost to Beef Supreme, so has a pretty good chance. But again, highly depends on who he faced earlier. Could lose his second to fourth placement. So
Yeah, I mean, I've been there before where I was at the final table. I lost in the finals and got dragged all the way down to fifth place.
yeah, so
It
just
happens.
very dependent on all that. But just a reminder, pre-release again will be on Wednesday. So if you guys
Yep.
want to play in this format, Wednesday will be another day as far as that, and it will be the last league day. So I believe the week after we'll be starting the next league. So if you are interested in that, come in. Probably a new format from what I'm understanding. Who knows? Keep in touch in the Discord. Case tournament on Sunday. Make sure you guys are signing up.
Yep.
Chance to win 4 free booster boxes and get some practice in for regionals.
Yeah, and you know, get your last hurrah in something bigger with a Jinbei, or if you're a Lucci player, you know,
Yeah.
BY player,
And then
you
put it to
know.
rest.
Yeah,
After.
yeah.
Oh, man. But without further ado, that is the end of the stream. Make sure you guys follow. If you guys want some of those tier 1 subs, as you see somewhere right here, make sure you guys are subscribing to the Twitch channel. And we'll catch you guys on Wednesday for the next stream.